Namaste yogis, welcome to Yoga and You. My name is Pallavi Rajankar and today we are doing a yoga sequence for gland health. Now as you know, in our systems we have something called an endocrine system. Now the endocrine system consists of different glands in our bodies that produce different hormones, and all of these chemicals come together that keep our body functioning optimally. Now the hormones that are produced by these glands in the endocrine system are responsible for our sexual function, for our metabolism, for our mood, for our energy, for our growth and development. So it's pretty important. A lot of us unfortunately nowadays have certain hormonal imbalances, so it's important for us to practice yoga for the health of these glands. So we'll start off in this pose, hands down, Bhujangasana, feet go to the back of the mat, hips face down. We're in Bhujangasana, rolling the shoulder blades outwards, look up to the sky, knees can be on the floor, hips can be on the floor. Okay, remembering to lengthen through the spine, look up if possible. This pose is essential for the adrenal gland. Now the adrenal gland is very important for regulating our heartbeat as well as blood pressure. So we're going to stay here for another 5. 4, remembering to breathe. 3, 4, 2, last little breath, and 4, 1. Slowly push down through the fingertips, come onto your knees, push the hips back down. We're going to move into Shashankasana or rabbit pose. Okay, so once you push back, allow it to rest on your hips almost like you're in Vajrasana, and then allow your hips to come back up. Hands go towards your heels, forehead comes down to the earth in between your knees, and from here try to push your back and your hips up to the ceiling. Shashankasana or rabbit pose, even though it's not such a common pose that we do in our yoga practices, it essentially massages the thyroid gland. Now the thyroid gland is responsible for our metabolism, so how fast we're able to digest and assimilate our food. And honestly today a lot of lifestyle issues are caused by the improper functioning of the thyroid gland. So we're going to stay in Shashankasana for another 4. 4, 3, push the hips even more if possible. 4, 2, holding the heels with your fingertips. Last little breath. And 4, 1. Slowly with control, don't whip out of it. We want to allow the steady flow of blood back up. Take your time. Place your hands on the floor. With control and ease, push the spine back up, coming into Vajrasana. Okay, now we're just going to come onto our feet and we're moving into Malasana, right? So feet can go as wide as the mat, parallel to the short side of the mat. Sit the bum back down, fingertips to heart center, coming into Malasana. Now this Malasana pose is essential for pancreatic health. Okay, so stay here, and if this pose is difficult and the heels are not touching the floor, you can even roll the mat up like this and sit the heels back down. It might make it a little bit more comfortable for those of you not used to Malasana, right? So staying here for 3, 4, 2, use the elbows to push the knees out, so it actually opens up the hip. It's also a hip opener. Spine is straight, don't hunch into the back, spine is straight, use the elbows to push the knees out. For another 2, you'll feel the burn in the thighs. Last little breath here. And 4, 1. Now slowly coming out, if you folded the mat, you can unfold it. And we're going to come into Camel Pose or Ustrasana. So coming back into Vajrasana and hips going up. Okay, from here we're going to spin one hand and then the other so that the hands are holding the heels. Allow your head and neck to drop down and then push forward with your hips. Allow your head to hang back, and this is essentially working on the ovaries for women. Any of the tension that you've built up here, you can allow it to be released. Consciously allow your hips to be pushed out for 5, 4, remembering to breathe, for 3, last little breath here, and for 1. Slowly with control, don't whip out of it. Chin comes back into your chest as you slowly lower it back down into Vajrasana. From here we are now going to move into bridge pose or Setu Bandhasana. So swing your legs forward, bring your feet parallel to the short side of the mat. Keep the feet firmly planted down. You can move your bottom a little bit further down and lie the back down with control. Now move the feet so that the fingertips can touch the heels of your feet. Okay, let it not be too far, let it touch it. And we're now in 3, 2, 1, we're going to lift up the hips. When we do that, remember to engage both the core muscles and the back muscles, pushing the hips up to the sky. So ready, 3, 2, 1, and lift up. Adjust the shoulders so that you can get even more height in the hips. Push up as much as possible. When the body is in this position, the thyroid glands which lie in the neck get massaged. As we said earlier in the video, the thyroid gland is responsible for metabolism. We're pushing with the glutes up to the ceiling. If this is hard, you can even slot the hands underneath and support. But if not, try to strengthen the back, hands to the feet. Staying here for another 5, 4, 3, push even higher, you'll feel it in the back muscles, for 2, and for 1. Slowly with control, allow the back to come back down. You can turn on to one side, coming back into seat. So those are a few poses that you can practice for good glandular health. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.